I wasn't even supposed to film today, but I got my makeup professionally done, so we're gonna come up with something. What is up, guys? It's Sophie. For today's video, I'm going to talk about how I got into modeling, because I've gotten endless DMs about modeling on my Instagram. I don't really talk about it that much on YouTube, and I don't even really consider myself a model, but I have modeled before. I've modeled a lot, whether it be for photographers for their portfolios or for brands. I've had experience with modeling, and I want to talk about it with you. Agencies, castings, how to get into modeling, how I started modeling. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Also, wait, we've been gaining subscribers so quickly recently. I'm assuming that it's because some of my videos have gotten a lot of views recently, but I just wanted to say thank you for everybody that's joining the fam. We have, I think, 6.5k now, which is so exciting. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's just really cool seeing like how fast we're growing. To me, that's really awesome. So thank you guys so much. I love you. And without further ado, let's begin. So I think I will start first with talking about how I personally got into modeling. So there was a point in time where I actually really did want to be a model. That was what I wanted to do. I sort of wanted to get into the acting / modeling industry, just like the entertainment industry. Obviously, my thoughts on that have changed. I no longer want to do that at all. That's not what I want my career to be. But since I still am on social media, I'm very active on Instagram, I'm active on here, and I do have some type of a platform, I will get approached by brands and by photographers. So it first started with one of my friends who's been on my channel before. Her name is Emma. We've done a bunch of photo shoots together, and I would post the pictures on my Instagram with hashtags, and that would sort of get the attention of other photographers who would then contact me asking to model for them. And whenever I do like a professional shoot, I always put hashtags on my pictures just because they do better. And I just put hashtags that relate to the image. Like if I took it in NYC, it's a photo shoot, like NYC model, even though I'm not a model, you gotta put it. So I did that. So that actually leads me to my first point of how you can get into modeling, which is start taking pictures. Depending on the agency, which I will get into later in the video, it gets very competitive. And the best way, honestly, which so many models are doing this now, I guess the Instagram model culture, but it can lead you to big things if you do want to pursue modeling as a career. When I say start taking pictures, I just mean start taking pictures. Anybody with a camera, if you have a camera, ask people to take pictures of you. Do you know how many times I've asked my dad to take pictures of me because I need new Instagram pictures? Like, I just teach him how to use the basic functions of my camera, and he'll take pictures of me. Take pictures in nice light. There are so many videos about how to take better Instagram pictures, but being active on social media will help so much. I'll obviously insert some example pictures, but what really helped me when I was posting those pictures were the hashtags that I use. I'll post a screenshot in my notes app. I literally have a set of hashtags that I use whenever I do a professional shoot, and that always attracts the attention of other photographers in the area that are looking to collab. So that's sort of what started growing for me. Someone who I freaking love, Jessica Whitaker. She's a YouTuber and a photographer, and she posts videos on her YouTube channel about her photography. She's one of the best photographers that I've ever worked with, and she's so kind and she's so sweet. And if you ever need pictures, literally please book her because she's amazing. I collabed with her on a shoot. She was looking for a model of color to shoot with in New York City, and I responded to her Instagram story and I said that I'd be willing to do it, and then she chose me, and then we shot together, and we've done shoots together since then. And working with her has honestly been so amazing. Like, she's one of the best photographers, like I said, that I've ever worked with. I've worked with other photographers in the past, and I'll just like post those pictures onto my page. Sometimes if they post their pictures onto their page of you, then that can gain traction too. So I would also say collab with other photographers. You can also reach out to photographers in the area, like wherever you live, and ask like, are you willing to do a collab? But you honestly don't really need to. You should, you definitely should, but even if you don't get anybody like willing to shoot with you, take pictures of yourself. It's harder if you don't have a nice looking camera, but literally you can use your iPhone. Like, there are some pictures that I've taken with my iPhone where a photographer has like DM'd me because of that picture and has asked to work with me. Just building a good relationship with photographers and getting pictures of yourself out there, that's like a perfect step, and all you need is an Instagram page to do that. The next thing, go to open casting calls. This is something that I don't really do, only because I don't want to really pursue modeling or acting. It's just a hobby that I do for fun. But there was a point in time where that was all I wanted to do, just entertainment, acting, modeling. So what I did was I went to casting calls. Backstage, oh my gosh, even though I don't really use Backstage anymore, I'm not as active on it. Backstage is amazing. Oh my gosh, you do have to pay monthly, but it is so worth it. It is so worth it. Whether you're a singer, actor, model, producer, whatever, if you want to be in the entertainment industry and get out there, Backstage is the place for you. They have a bunch of casting calls that you can apply for, and you can just put your pictures up there. Any of the modeling headshots that you've taken, with the first tip that I gave you, which is start taking pictures, any pictures like that, put them up and start applying to casting calls, or go to open casting calls. Open casting calls are a little bit nerve-wracking because they're open, which means that anybody can go, so they're very competitive. I normally feel more secure if like a company will like ask me to come, like they'll reach out to me and say we want you to come, rather than me just like going to an open casting call. But if you really want to get into the business, you're gonna have to do it. Go to open casting calls, get your name out there, network with new models, new photographers, new casting directors. The one thing that I will say when doing that, make sure that it's legitimate. If you are under 18, please bring somebody with you, and if you're not bringing somebody with you, let a parent or a guardian know where you are. Modeling is really fun. It's a really great business, but it's also very sketchy, and there are a lot of people that will put up open casting calls that aren't even real, and they're just like doing it to lure in people, and that sounds scary, but it's what happens. If you're under the age of 18 and you're looking to go to an open casting call, or even a regular casting call on Backstage, even though Backstage is very legitimate and they do background checks, you can never be too sure. Bring a parent or guardian, bring a friend that you trust, bring somebody with you, or let people know where you are. I just recently went to a casting and I brought my dad with me, even though it was totally legit and it was for a makeup brand that is very well known. I still brought him with me because you can never be too sure. So casting calls, network with other photographers, I already talked about that. Now, agencies. Let's talk about agencies. Even though I do not want to pursue modeling at all, I am going to look back into applying to agencies. So far, I've always just been a freelance model. I've never been signed with an agency in my entire life, but I am looking into doing that because honestly, I model a lot and it is really fun, and even though it's not something that I would want to pursue as a career, I would still love to work with an agency and just see where it takes me and what I can do with it, because I do see potential in myself as a model. I never did before. I was just like, like I don't know, like it's really fun. Like it's honestly really fun to model. What I would do for that is when applying to agencies, one, make sure that the agency is legitimate. Like I said, how people will make up casting calls, there are people out there that will literally make up agencies and will be like, oh, we want you to model for us, but they're not even real. Just look up modeling agencies in your area. I would prefer honestly to be signed to a smaller one that's still legitimate, because when you get into big agencies like IMG, normally this is what I've heard from like a lot of people that have been signed with them, they don't pay attention to you if you're not huge. So like there are models that will like be signed with this huge agency, but since they're small, honestly to me it sort of reminds me of YouTube networks. I don't really talk about YouTube networks on here, which I should. I've been signed to YouTube networks before, but it's sort of the same idea. Like people think that when you're signed with like this huge agency or this huge network, it's amazing, but it's only really good for you if you have traction or your name is relatively big or big. If it's not, you don't really get paid attention to that much, which is why like my advice, I would try smaller agencies and sort of work your way up. You can have a mother agency and then have agencies on the side. I honestly wouldn't just like sign to a huge agency and call it a day, because being a YouTuber, in my experience, I've been signed to a very huge YouTube network and they did absolutely nothing for me. So I had to end my contract with them because they were honestly terrible. But there are huge YouTubers that are also signed with that same agency that are doing great, and the agency is doing a lot, not agency, network. The network is doing a lot for them, but if you're not huge or your name is not very big, then they won't really do anything for you. So if you are just starting out with modeling, definitely look to smaller agencies. But still research those smaller agencies, make sure that they're legitimate, research their models, research what their models are doing, how well their models are doing, because that will say a lot about the agency. If a model's signed to an agency and isn't doing anything, or like nothing's being done for them, they're not getting any castings, they're not getting any shoots, they're not working with any brands, like that says something about the agency that's representing them. So definitely keep that in mind. When going to castings, whether it's for an agency or a brand or for anything, they'll either ask you to come in or they'll ask you to send photos. So when sending photos, it's normally a headshot, a mid-body shot, and then a full body shot. Or they'll ask you to go, and if they're a good agency, like if they're legitimate, they'll normally take pictures of you. I just went to a casting. I didn't even have to bring anything. I didn't even have headshots because, like I said, I'm not an established model. They just asked me to come, and then they took pictures of me. So that worked out. That's what I would say when dealing with agencies and castings and stuff like that. And when going to a casting, I would recommend wearing like black skinny jeans, or just skinny jeans if you have any, a white or black tank top, whichever one looks better on your skin, and heels. Simple. And your makeup should be very natural. Some people don't wear any makeup. I wear makeup. I just make sure that it looks like I'm not wearing any makeup, but I'm still wearing it, you know. Gotta conceal that stuff. But yeah, those are really all the tips that I have for getting into modeling. Honestly, it really all starts, at least in this day and age, like back in the day, there wasn't any Instagram, there wasn't any social media. So the only way to get into the agency is getting the casting calls, getting agencies to notice you, going to the open casting calls. But honestly, if you have a phone and you have Instagram, you can start from there. It's not that hard at all. Grab a friend to take pictures of you. The thing, like I said, that worked the most for me were the hashtags. And there are some people that are like embarrassed to use hashtags. Don't be. They're there for a reason. I'll use hashtags, and then like 5 photographers who are trying to build their portfolio and work with agencies will contact me saying, hey, I really love your look, can we set up a test shoot? But if I had not used hashtags, they weren't already following me, so they would have never seen me. A lot of agencies will look through their hashtags. A lot of casting directors and photographers will look through hashtags. We live in a digital age, like social media is your friend, use it. That's honestly what I did. Also Backstage, that's really the only casting website that I know of. If you know of any, make sure to comment them down below. But Backstage has worked wonders for your girl. Like back when I wanted to pursue acting and be in the entertainment industry, I think it was last summer, I was like going from casting calls to auditions, and it was so great. Obviously you're gonna get rejected from a lot of them, that's just like a given. At least you're getting traction, you're meeting people, you're meeting casting directors, you're making a good impression, people have your resume, people have your headshots, and I actually got to book a lot of the gigs that I applied for. So you know, it works out. So yeah, that's basically it for this video. Hopefully I gave you some insight into starting a career in modeling. It is a very competitive industry, but if you work your cards right and you know what you're doing, you'll be able to do it. Like, don't worry, you'll be fine. Thank you guys so much for watching. That is it. I love you all very much. Thank you again for 6.5K. You guys are all amazing, and I will see you this Saturday with another new video. Bye!
I think that I've been dead since the start. Haven't said too much inside my heart, but I don't even care no more. I'm gonna